Lily, we are back to episode 4. How are
Welcome
you?
back. I'm amazing. How are you?
Good, good, good. Well, I've got a bit of a dry cough at the moment. I don't know what's going on. So if any time through the episode you hear me like in the background,
Mhm.
apologies, but well enough to sort of push through. What's news in your world? How's things?
I'm a bit like you. I'm battling whatever this is, so I'll be drinking my water throughout the session just to be able to keep talking without losing my voice and continuing to try and find my words. But
Cool.
not much, just same, same. What about you? What's happening in your world?
I'll come back to my world in a moment because I've got a small moment story, small
Small
moment, big
mystery.
impact. How about I get the name of the podcast right? That'd be helpful. Um, We're on a bit of a roll. We're only 3 episodes in, but just it's been really nice to get the feedback that we've gotten, and even without giving too much away. But one of our upcoming guests at the moment, he wrote
Mhm.
back an email which was like really complimentary and glowing, and saying that he'd really appreciated the authenticity in that
Mhm.
space. And it was refreshing. I'm like, oh, I think we're onto something here.
We definitely are. And that's the thing, I think, because so much happens every day. We don't stop to see how much impact these conversations have. And I
Mm,
think one of the things with being neurodiverse myself, you have to be more aware. So then I feel like I'm able to pick up on some of those things a lot quicker. And I just knew how much they helped me. So I thought if they help me, I think it would really help other people. And that is the feedback I've been getting where people are
mm,
saying, I love listening to you guys. Wow, your guests were so good. I didn't even think it would go that way.
mm.
And they would reference little things back to me that we talked about, especially with Aaron when he was our guest. And I thought that was really special. And I just love to be able to make anybody feel a little bit more supported in any way that we can. And if that's through the pod, then that's our job well done.
Yeah, no, 100%,
It's really
definitely.
cool.
And and what about any small moments for you the past week or so that you've thought about
Uh,
and
no, not so much so. How about yourself?
I do, but even like with like sometimes I feel like right now is about sometimes we have like a dinner conversation with our kids at home. How was your day? Anything exciting happen?
Mhm.
Nah, or whatever. And it's like wait, days and weeks like that come around where there's
Yeah.
nothing super great, nothing super bad. It's just ticking boxes and getting through the grind, really. And not every
Yeah.
week or day needs to be amazing with something incredible happening. You just
Well,
some days you tick
the
along.
one exciting thing that's happening that just I've remembered is tonight I
Ooh.
get to be a AFL mum. Liam goes for
Oh,
his first training session tonight. Yeah. So
wow.
that's a big, big thing. And I'm very excited about that. So, I'm going to be a mess. They're going to be like, who brought this woman here?
That'll be
What is up with her?
so good.
I am so incredibly proud. And, yeah, and he reminded me this morning. I completely forgot because there's so much
Mm,
going on. And then he said to me, Mum, what am I doing after LGO today? And I said, oh, we're coming home. And he goes, but Liam has the sons. I thought, what's he talking about? And I'm like,
mm.
oh, you do. So it's an 8-week program that they're running for children with disability and through the Coomera Magpies. So he's going to be a magpie. He's going to be a magpie
Unreal.
tonight. So, yeah,
Unreal.
it's his first session. He's got his footy boots and I cannot wait. So that's something very big that's happening.
That's very cool. My small moment, I guess, is I got a phone call, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 days ago, something like that now,
Mhm.
um, of a friend and someone who's sort of in the Flex network as well,
Okay.
who wanted to float the idea with me of whether I'd be interested in coming back to be president of our local chamber of commerce. And he's like, "What do you think?" I'm like, "Well, this is the first time I've thought about that in any way, shape, or form." um, and so, yeah, thought about it, put the feelers out there, had a few talks to a few people because I was vice president for a year and then president
Yeah.
previously, I think finishing up in 2023. And then the existing president was stepping down and thought more about it for a day or two.
Mhm.
And then last night was elected president of the Centenary District's Chamber of Commerce to go around again for another 12 months. So,
That's incredible. So
yeah,
tell
so that,
me what inspired you to go back and do it? Because when I first met you, you were kind of finishing it up. I mean, Flex was taking off and you had so much on your plate. So why kind of coming back to it?
well, it got to a point last time, and this happens with a lot of volunteer groups where I'd given 3 years. I felt it was sort of just time to move on. Like I'd sort of taken the organization as far as I could take it at that time with the resources and everything in play. And it was time to take a bit of a step back and do other things. And then looking from the outside in, I think the current committee's done a really good job to reinvigorate it as well over the last sort of 6 to 12 months, and have laid the platform for another, bounce, I guess, in membership and activities and events. And also, I think getting just more back into the community, if there's such a thing, to be a bit more active, where the last couple of years I've been a bit quieter in that space. And with the kids being a bit older and where the business is, I've probably got a bit more capacity to do a few more things like that. And just to spend some more time with business people as well and building those relationships and trying to position the chamber and have its real primary focus as relationships, as connections, these sorts of things. Because there's a million referral groups out there where it's super business. We're just here to give each other leads, which is, there's a place for that. But I think the chamber's got a place in a relationship, advocacy, and education point, which are sort of the 3 pillars that I want to focus on.
It's very different. So for people, when you and I first met, you actually educated me around our Chamber of Commerce. Do you remember? You were like, you should be a part of your Chamber of Commerce. This is what they do. And we're still a member today. So I think this is our 3rd year that we are with them. And I have found incredibly meaningful relationships with other people in completely different businesses. And they've helped me along the way and things like that. So for people that are listening that are like, oh my God, what is a Chamber of Commerce? What do they do? Do you want to give us just a little bit of an overview of how that could be beneficial if you're joining it?
Yeah, well, Chamber of Commerce is for businesses within that particular region. So for ours, it's the Centenary and districts, which is a few suburbs outside the Centenary suburbs, so to speak. And then they're all connected in some way, shape, or form back to Business Chamber Queensland, who are like, they're an advocacy body to the state government and other industry groups around advocating for businesses and what they need and help to thrive and go forward. And on a local level, there's hopefully lots of like local members, local business members who you can start up new relationships with, shake hands, and get to know each other. And I think it's a really good space for sharing the ups and downs of business with other business owners. And that education piece, I think chambers do a really fantastic job of bringing in guest speakers who are able to share their wisdom and knowledge that you can take back to your business. So I think it's a really big benefit to being part of a chamber.
Yeah, we found that too. So I'm glad for your referral. I think it was 2023 when you first signed us up to our local one, which is Southport.
Go for it. Yeah.
And
there we go.
Great. So I highly recommend it. But congratulations. I'm excited to see what you do. I think you'll do amazing things.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's launch into this week's guest. Lily, do you want to give us a quick snapshot of who our guest is for this week?
Sure. So as we did a bit of an intro last week, we have the amazing Sharon Murphey joining us today. And she has founded with her daughter a charity called Keeley's Cause, and they raise money to be able to purchase iPads for children and adults and youth with disability, particularly autism and intellectual disability. That is really their space of passion. And they just continue to do incredible things. And I think it's so great for everybody to hear about her journey, her advocacy. You know, she is very passionate, and she's also very good at communicating the way that she feels is best way forward. And yeah, I'm excited to have her on. So should we take it?
She is a force of nature. She's got a lot of energy and you can, she's very passionate and focused on.
And I feel like the force of nature is all love. Like she comes through in such an energy of love. And I think that's what I love. Engaging with her, interacting with her, learning from her. When she talks, I can honestly listen for hours and not lose my train of thought. And that's really rare for me. So because it resonates, everything she says resonates with me. This one will probably be a hard one for me. It's going to be an emotional one for me because a lot of these topics are really close to my heart and really at the core of me and my journey and my son's journey in particular. So I'll do my best not to cry, but we'll see how it goes.
All right, let's bring her in.
Let's bring her in. Welcome, Sharon. And we would love to welcome our special guest for today, the incredible Miss Sharon Murphy. I'm already getting emotional because I love you so much. And I'm
The
so thankful that
incredible, like
you're
that,
here.
that
I
sounds
know, look
amazing,
at me.
doesn't it?
It's
The
already
incredible.
happening. It's already happening. So, Sharon, for those who haven't heard of your story before and of Keeley's cause and the inspiring work that you do, could you give us a bit of an overview?
Keeley started Keeley's cause in 2017 when she was 13. It evolved from Keeley herself being bullied at school for being different, the school not being open to giving her an education that supported her needs. So Keeley was failing academically. They wouldn't let her use an iPad because what would the other parents say if Keeley had one and they didn't? So there was a big rigmarole around it. Obviously, the schools have access to cognitive reports and that you don't have to pay for. They told me that Keeley wouldn't meet the criteria just to tap into one of the aides in the room. So grade 4, we kept her down because she didn't even know her times tables. They didn't want to keep her down because they're against it, obviously. But we pushed it. Grade 6, they signed her off. Grade 6, year 7 ready. We decided to homeschool Keeley because Keeley was being bullied at the time, and the bullies were going to be on the bus that would then take her to high school. So to avoid that, we're going to homeschool her, and we're going to find out her strengths and her weaknesses so we can work better with her weaknesses to help her out. So it came back that Keeley had a IQ of 64, functioning at a grade 3-4 level, requiring a full-time aide with a mild intellectual disability.
So just for the people listening that aren't a part of our disability world, Sharon, what does that mean like for her IQ?
So for her IQ, that means that she doesn't fit mainstream school. So automatically, so 70 and under is the score where they need more support. So that was kind of a big deal for Keeley. It was the first time that she'd heard that she'd had an intellectual disability. So she said, "Oh, I must be stupid. I must be dumb." And I said to her, "You're not. It's just a different way of processing information. You learn differently to others, and that's where we have to support you the most in the way that you learn." So then 2 weeks later, Keeley was suffering a little bit of depression, and she was sitting up the back room under the window, and she said, "You know what, Mum, we have a right to an education as much as everybody else. We have dreams of becoming someone someday too." And I said to her, "You know what? You're absolutely right. Absolutely you are." And she said, "Good. I want to start a charity. I want to call it Keeley's Cause. I want to find 2 people that have what I have, and I want to do a sausage sizzle and buy them an iPad each." So we looked into that. Keeley was also a member of the local Lions Club, so we spoke to them about it, and they said, "What did you want to do?" And we told them, and they took it on as a project. So 2 sausage sizzles then turned into 59 sausage sizzles. And then Creswick Lions found out that Keeley never had her own iPad still because the charity was never made for her. It was made so no one had to go through what she went through and experience, I guess, the pain and everything that came with being bullied, not only from children but from teachers as well. So it was pretty bad. This gave Keeley hope. She also said she wanted to go global, and I said to her, "We haven't even got it off the floor yet, but we'll get there." So we have had global interactions with Africa, Sri Lanka, Pakistan. So we'll see where that heads it. But for the moment, so Keeley said, "What if it doesn't work, Mum?" And I said, "Well, if it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. At least we've given a go. I'll champion you 100%. I'll stand behind you. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't." And here we are. National charity now, 691 iPads. Obviously, we get no funding. The government won't support what we do because it's perceived everybody in the world owns an iPad already. But as you know, Lily, for low socioeconomic families and income earners, those families that have given up their work to look after their children, they can't afford these things. So that's why Keeley created it, and we support exclusive low socioeconomic families, the ones that can't afford it. So,
and I think something, Sharon, people don't realize, because people will be like, I got the whole, why do you need an iPad? Why can't you buy a Samsung tablet or something cheaper? The challenges we face as parents, I was a very dedicated Android user prior to my son needing a verbal, so a high-tech, we call it a high-tech communication device. But the problem is, because of the security around it, Apple and the Apple platform is the only one that houses a lot of these apps.
That's right. And it's the only one that supports Prologue to Go. Yeah.
Prologue to Go, which is an important speech app.
Yeah. And I think people need to understand that for normal people in the world that function normal and day to day, they use an iPad mostly for work or mucking around or something like that, right? Playing games, whatever else. The iPad for these kids is the key to their world. They understand technology in a way we don't. It performs their world. It becomes every part of them. So we're finding now that the iPad is not only giving them an inclusive education tailored to their needs, it's giving obviously nonverbal children a voice through communications apps, but we're also finding that it's regulating their meltdowns. It's supporting their mental health well-being and their outcomes. And it's a tool that is their life. Their whole life is in that iPad. So, the anxiety is released. They might not have friends in the school, but that technology is their answer to everything.
And it
provides them with that support. There's the emoji icons they can use. Even an anxious child, that doesn't want to speak or tell you when something's wrong, they can go through and use the emoji apps, which is how Keeley learnt to communicate. So,
Sharon, with all that in mind, what do families say when, like, what's the feeling? Like, you get, raise the funds to get them an iPad. What are their reactions when they get an iPad?
Well, if you ring them and you talk to them on the phone, they're actually crying on the phone. And Lily will know that experience because they're grateful, because you've gone up and beyond for them. Some of these families can't even support themselves and buy milk and bread at the end of the year, end of the week, let alone pay an iPad off. They've struggled for years. There's no one else supporting iPads. Keeley's Cause is doing it on a, what do you call it? Professional, ongoing front. There might be others that do iPads, but they're not ongoing. So not everyone can get one. So the demand for us now is huge. So last time we opened up a round, we normally open them for a weekend, sometimes up to 2 weeks. We had to close the last round at 4 hours because there were 250 applications in 4 hours. Yeah, so we now have 75 children sitting on the wait list now. Rather than make them reapply the next round, we put them on the wait list. So now we've got to source the funds to, help them out. So,
and is that Australia-wide? Do you get applications from all over the place?
We go Australia-wide, so we support every state. Last 2 rounds we have, connected with every state. So
and
it's
also
getting out there.
As LGO Therapy Group, we've supported an iPad for a child as well because it's tax deductible. And so from a business point of view, it makes sense. And Sharon was amazing to make sure a Queensland child received that because we're a Queensland support service. So they got to come into the clinic, and Sharon and Keeley and Gavin, they flew up to be able to be with us when that iPad was delivered. And I think you were there too, Keeley, doing...
I think I was. Yeah, that was a little while ago now, but I think I was.
So special. And
nobody loses. So the idea is that people can donate money towards an iPad, and that can be $1.50. We got kids even, donating. It's not about how much. It's about that, every dollar, every cent builds up. So people can donate anything. Then we have the ability to sponsor an iPad. So organizations, individuals, businesses, whatever, can sponsor an iPad or iPads. So they then have the opportunity to meet their recipients. Keeley wants everyone to know where their money went and whose life you ultimately changed. And I think that's really important and heartfelt for both sides, because the family gets to know who supported them. And on the other side, the sponsor gets to know what family they supported. And if they want to go on then and support the family or do things with that further, then that's entirely up to them. But we will always get the sponsor to allocate where they want that iPad to go. Most will say, I've donated money, give it Australia-wide, or, I want this to go to Sydney people or whatever. They're the ones that are sponsoring the money, so we work with them to where they want to support.
Sharon, are there any common themes from people that apply, like they might have been rejected before a lot, or are there any common themes for people who apply for an iPad that you've seen over the years come through?
The biggest thing is the NDIS. NDIS weren't funding iPads when Keeley started it. They did start funding them in COVID. But that was a big rigmarole for people wanting to get them, having to sign up and get reports from therapists and everything like that. And obviously now NDIS are no longer supporting it, which is okay, because that makes us continue to support the kids. We will always be here to support them and provide them what they need as best we can.
Yeah. Sharon, just to circle back for a minute, and I'm sorry for being so emotional, but it's so close to home, this whole conversation.
Don't apologise.
When I met Sharon, I crashed her breakfast and she was wiping my tears after 30 seconds.
And I'm so glad you did, because look at us now.
I know. And look, it just makes me grateful. And the iPad hits hard really for me, because it was the first way that I got to communicate and connect with my child. So we talk a lot about the benefits of the child being able to have an outlet of communication that is really designed for them and their brain to understand and express and process, but also the way that I was able to receive my son's communication for the very first time, to understand his favorite color, which it was a color we never had around the house. And him to put 3-4 word sentences together on this electronic. Till this day, he can spell something or spell amazing
things.
He's
now speaking, and he's doing all those things that he wouldn't have done before.
No, so it did not stop his ability to speak. But what's interesting is when he's tired or overwhelmed or emotional now, instead of the meltdowns, he will still take that iPad out and use a keyboard and type what he needs, which
That's
is
right, exactly. So he can communicate his needs 100%. And if you give a non-verbal child a laptop or an iPad and you ask them to type something or how they're feeling or whatever, the words they use are astronomical. And everybody seems to think that non-verbal children, there's so many times I go out in the community and someone will say, oh, he's non-verbal. And you'll see someone go, oh, can you hear me? Do you understand me? And it's like, oh, my God, he doesn't speak. He can hear everything that you say.
Yeah.
And that's what people have to remember, that, you're making judgments on someone who can actually hear everything you've got to say about them. So, you just have to be more open and understanding. And I think that's the biggest point, the understanding. People will go, oh, yeah, they got autism. But do you understand what that is? And I think the more people understand what it is and how it affects our children, their minds, their spirits, their whole lot, then the world would be a better place.
Sharon,
the judgmentals will go down a little bit.
Have you got any practical tips for people who may be unaware or lack of? What can they do to be more understanding and less judgmental?
I think listening is the first part. The second part is putting the shoe on the other foot. This is a really big thing for me, because you can go, oh, wow, that's really bad. She must be going through so much, But what about put the shoe on the other foot? Instead of judging the mother that's having trouble with the child who's having a meltdown that you think is misbehavior, why don't you put the shoe on the other foot and wear it for a little while, and imagine that if this was you and you had a child with a disability. Instead of judging, try understanding. These families are lonely because they have a child that's having meltdowns. There's mothers out there that go, oh, my God, this child, don't associate. Like Keeley, friends were told, don't go near her. She's got something wrong with her.
understanding is a big one, because we had a very solid group of friends here when we received the diagnosis of autism. All the typical friends with typical children disappeared, because their fear was, and this is people for years we were together with, like all the time, every weekend, every event. And they so easily walked away with the fear that whatever, and Liam at that time didn't show any, let's say, typical autism behaviors. And they were like, no, we don't want our children around that. We don't know what that's going to look like as he gets older. And they branded him without even knowing him. So, and I think that's why I get so emotional, because I'm just so grateful to have now created this community. And that's why Community for Liam was a goal, because of people like this. So there was just no understanding or willingness to say, hey, how can I engage with him? I'd really love to talk to him. I can see he loves, I don't know, Demon Hunters, because he wears the Demon Hunter shirt. How can I engage with him to see his favorite character? So I think little things like that definitely go a long way.
And I think the hardest part too is that a lot of people say, autism and intellectual disabilities don't have a look. Right?
I believe that's not true.
It's hard for them. You know what I mean? It's hard for them to determine what's wrong with that child. It's an invisibility, right? But it's automatically put down the minute that the child plays up that it's a naughty child because it's not doing it as it's told. Instead of making a judgment, if you see a mum struggling, she might be struggling with a child that has autism or an intellectual disability that just needs that little bit of support to calm him down and regulate him. If you're able to do that and help out in that way, you should always stop and do that and say, you know, do you need help? Are you okay? If the mum says, no, I'm fine, then all and well, right? But sometimes you just need to offer that hand, because most of these women are doing this alone because their partners have left them, right? And it's a very lonely world, even if they have a partner. They're not invited out. They don't get invited to parties. I remember we did a party for Keeley here. She wanted the whole grade to come in grade 3. So we invited them. I didn't get one RSVP. I did all the food. We had face painting. We had jumping castle, and she got dressed up, and it was a dress-up theme. Not one person, not one child from that school turned up. My girlfriend from Bacchus Marsh turned up with her 2 girls, 2 kids, and that was it. Then there was another knock at the door, which was not anything to do with the party. And Keeley says, Mum, what's wrong with me? I said to her, sweetheart, there's nothing wrong with you, sweetheart. There's everything wrong with everyone else, right? So, but for a child that's experiencing that, how heartbreaking is that? You know, and I don't think people think of the consequences for the person that you're, you know, judging or picking on at the other end. You know, these parents some parents are too scared to even tell you their child's got something wrong with them for fear that they might not have you as a friend tomorrow. You've got families that are losing families because, oh my God, we don't want that naughty child in our family. And you're saying he's autistic when it's not. Autism is a load of shit and la la la. Like, it's just not on. Where is the support? Does it matter? Does it matter what they have? Right? If you didn't know that they had a diagnosis, would you still be talking to them then? Because I bet you would be.
So some of the points I want to just circle back to, Sharon, is, you know, you talked a lot about how lonely and hard it is. So for yourself, for example, you know, having to advocate for Keeley, having to understand that this school system doesn't work for her, we need to bring her over to this side. What is that going to look like? How do you manage yourself? How do you make sure, because you were working full time as well, which is
absolutely.
How do you
I think the needs of the kids are the most important. When your children are unhappy, you have to do something at some stage. And a lot of people can't advocate because they don't have the voice or they're scared of conflict or whatever. But at the end of the day, without your voice, your child has none. So if you send them to a school and you can't advocate for them for whatever reason that may be, you know, fear, whatever, don't have it, because you need to stand up for your child. You don't have to go in and have an argument. You just have to bring to their attention that this is what's happening to your child and you'd like something done or more support or whatever. If you're not getting that support, then go and see a disability advocate, because they will support you. We've always championed our 3 kids no matter what, no matter how less their ability is, and we've always grown it. And we've always celebrated that little step and turned it into a big step. So all my children now are doing something in that field. You know, they've all got the empathy to go on and support others and be there. Like Lee, he's 34 now. He has autism and ADHD. He never got diagnosed till he was 10 because it was never around. He's now doing photography, but he supports all the guys in mental health and everything as well. And Lee goes through his own mental health, but he always makes sure that everyone else is okay first.
Oh.
You know, Renee's now working in the disability sector, and she has 3 kids with autism. So 3 boys, and then there's Keeley. And so I think championing them to be the very best versions of themselves. Because as I say to my kids, like my kids will go, oh, I've got a disability. Yeah, and that's unfortunate, but it's the way you were made. We can't change it. We just have to learn to best adapt to how you learn what you do and grow that to a point where you're able to live comfortably in this world with an understanding to what you need. Because often if you don't champion the kids and you don't help them, when they grow up and they're older, what are they going to do out in the community? Like, they've relied on you all your life, and then all of a sudden you've let go and they're out there, and then they wonder why everyone's on, you know, disability support, and this person's out in the street and this one's, because there is no support.
And a lot of the time they're out there of the population. And, you know, one thing that I've realized is, you know, I mean, I'm lucky, like when, for example, Brent comes into the clinic, or the other people that we work with in our team that have typical kids, they're very curious, but that's also very rare. I don't experience that often, except for the people in that circle. And you've done such great work, like talking about small steps, big impact, you know, from the mum, I want to do this, to now being a massive international a charity continuing to deliver iPads for kids is phenomenal. So Sharon, what's next? Because if I know anything about the wonderful Keeley, who brings me to tears because I have so much love and respect for you guys, I'm sure this is not it. I'm sure she's got lots more that she wants to do. So what's next for you guys?
Keeley's visions come from her injustice. So Keeley's cause started with her injustice to how people were being supported in education with autism and intellectual disabilities, right? Now we're on to the mental health side. Because as Keeley said, they can't just go to any, like some autistic people can, but the majority of them can't just attend any normal psychologist or psychiatrist. Yeah. Because as Keeley said, they don't understand them as an individual. And because they're literal, sometimes depending on what the counsellor says, they will take them literally, and that literal gets the kids into more trouble than they were before they even got to the psychologist. So this has been probably in the making for about 4 or 5 years. So Keeley wanted to do something like this a while ago, and it was kind of put off a bit and put on the back burner. But when the raging bull is going in her head and the injustice is still there, she sets off to start again. So we have a expo coming up on World Mental Health Day in October. It's called the Be Understood Expo, and it's exclusive for people living with autism, intellectual disabilities, and their carers to come and access all the support services around mental health directly to support them as individuals. So whilst we have a lot of organisations, Black Dog and Beyond Blue do amazing work with people with mental health, but when it comes to people with autism and intellectual disabilities, it's not there. And in COVID, we lost a lot of people through suicide because they couldn't get those support services when they were ringing up the helplines. So do you have someone who understands autism I could speak to? No. They already think that they don't exist in the world. Then they come and ask for help, and they're virtually told, we got nothing because, you know, we don't allow for you, you're nothing. And they take their lives. Like, that's got to stop.
Yeah. We had a similar
100%.
experience, Sharon.
Nobody should feel that they can't access support and that the only answer for them is to take their life. Like,
Yeah, it's
that's just not
horrific.
the message we need to be bringing out. And whether you
We
have
had a
autism,
similar-
intellectual disability, or any disability, you have as much right to those support services as anybody else, and they need to be made available. So this expo will bring all that to it. So it will be a yearly expo.
Okay.
So we're hoping to make it bigger and bigger, and maybe we'll get, some people down interstate that can come to the expo, because everybody needs to know what's about. So we'll create a little mental health toolbox so that these people, individuals, will have access to the supports readily. Yeah. We've also created a new platform and also an app that will support as well. So that will be released, I think, over the next few weeks, and also be available at the expo. So it's just putting everything in one area so that people can access what they need right at the time, and everything that they need in there to manage their mental health. Resources, there's stuff for carers, the whole kickaboodle, it's in there. So I'm very proud of it, and I'm very proud of Keeley once again. She's grown so much. I don't think she realises that the charity, she's supporting others with the charity, but the charity is actually supporting her. Her growth has been absolutely amazing. Like the amount of things that she was told that she would never do, she's done them all and then some. And I'm so grateful that she's grown up knowing that she has that support and that she can stand for others and advocate for those that can't speak. So this is all about that. It's about getting what we need for our families so that they can have exactly what everybody else in this world has. And I think the mental health side of it is a very important thing. Everyone needs support, so we're going to make sure that they get it.
And that's something I know Brent and I are both very passionate about. I don't know if you want to jump in there, Kiwi, too, but we had a similar situation, Sharon, where one of my very good friends who is neurodiverse went and sought some psychology supports just because there's a lot of things going on in their life at the moment.
Yeah.
And the psychologist was amazing in the way to say, I actually don't know how to support you because I don't understand your brain. This is not my area of expertise. But she was on a
Which
wait
is a good
list.
thing. Which is a good thing in one way.
But she was on a wait
because
list.
Because she's acknowledged that she can't, rather than keep the person going and pretend that you can and putting them in positions they just don't need to be in.
For sure. But then why keep somebody for 6 months on a wait list? Because at the intake, the person was very clear about what they needed, what they were looking for, about the way that their brain is processing. So I thought if there's more things that are better out there suited, that are clearly labeled, where you know where you can go and get this support, it's going to be so incredibly helpful. And for her,
well, you just wait for what's about to come out, because that's going to have everything that you just mentioned and then some in it. So I can't tell you much more about it yet.
That's okay. You've shared so much, and I appreciate it.
It's very exciting. And the app I have created myself, so I've spent, I think, nearly the last 9-10 months working on it. It's finished, and I'm so excited. We've had a lot of people look at it, and they love it. A lot of autistics approve of it. So that's great. That's our main part, is that the people that we want to support are the ones that are loving it. So it'll have everything that they need to support them in a short term, long term, and being able to access the information that they need, the people that can support them the best. So we will have all that.
Yeah. And you're amazing, Sharon. I also want to highlight, it's one thing to want to create something, but it's another thing when you have somebody behind you that believes in it and pushes it and goes and finds ways to make it happen. And that's what you have done. So I just take my hat off to you. And this is why I have so much love and respect for you. Yeah.
This child is here for a reason. They have a purpose. You need to help them find that purpose. I've helped my kids find their purpose. They all have their purpose now. They struggled along the way with, where do we sit? What a world, and Lee really struggled with it. We've had a few close calls with him, but now he's in a state where he can manage all that because he now has a purpose. So it's finding that purpose, what they're good at. Even if it's only, like I said, a bit of ability, grow that ability.
Yeah, I can see how much passion and energy and drive you've got for it. If that resonates with people listening, how can they best support Keeley's cause and your mission, everything that you're doing? How can they best support?
Well, they can go on our new look website, which is absolutely amazing.
They can also crash your breakfast. You're amazing.
Yes. I designed that too. I'm very proud. I don't know where I'm getting this arty-farty, as they say, but it's very time-consuming, but I love the outcome. They can go on www.keeleyscause.org.au. They can donate, they can volunteer, they can support. Their children becomes super raisers. So the idea of a super raiser is your child raises money, whether they go around family. We've had kids do sock fundraisers. We've had children sell their toys and donate it to Keeley's cause, because it also teaches them about supporting someone with a disability. If you look that when you start to raise money for something, you become more passionate about learning about it and what it is. So the more children that we can, let them be more empathetic and support it, the more they will go on and support others. It's like the give back just continues because they're learning. I think every person or everybody should at least try volunteering one time in their life, because it is the most rewarding job that you will ever come across. All those sorts of little things. Help us behind the scenes in admin and different things like that, because we're all volunteers. So it's a volunteer-run organisation. So we
Sharon,
do this.
I take my hat off to you and Keeley and the whole organisation, because it's just phenomenal what you've built from the ground up. And Lily speaks so highly of you all the time. We could talk for hours. We'll have to get you back on at another episode later on. Maybe even like after the expos happen.
Good.
Oh, I love it. Love it.
That's
Could do it all day.
Well, Sharon, thank you so much for your time for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I greatly appreciate it. I was so honoured to be asked. So, yes, you made me feel wonderful by asking me. So thank you so much, both of you.
You are so welcome. And I think we're so excited to also have you back after the expo so you can share a little bit of that journey with us. And then, we can explore a bit further all your work.
Beautiful. Sounds great.
Sharon, you're incredible. And thank you for just being who you are.
Yeah, well, I'm not the only one that's incredible. You guys are incredible too, to be doing something like this to, better support families and understand as well. So you're doing your bit. So kudos to the both of you.
Thanks, you so much.
Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next time on the next episode.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
See ya. Bye.